Hello everyone, I'm Alfian and today we are going to solve the LeetCode challenge on the challenge number 125 called the Palindrome. And for this particular challenge, a phrase is a palindrome if after converting all uppercase letters into lowercase letters and removing all non-alphanumeric characters, it reads the same forward and backward. Alphanumeric characters include letters and numbers. Do take note that alphanumeric is considered letters and numbers, and given a string which is the s of the parameter s, and return true if it is a palindrome or false otherwise. And we have example number 1 right here, which is the parameter s, which is the string a man, comma, a plant, comma, a canal, colon, Panama. And it is considered a true because if we happen to remove all of the non-alphanumeric characters and normalize this into lowercase only, then we got a palindrome sequence. A palindrome is a word that you can reverse no matter how you place it from, no matter how you read it from the left and right, it is still the same. Which from this one, a man, a plant, a can, and then if we do it backwards from the back to the middle part, a man, a plant, and finally a can, and it is considered a palindrome. And for the example number 2 right here, we have race a car. It is not considered a palindrome because we have the a which compared with the e, and a is not the same as e, and hence the result is false, and it is not a palindrome. If we happen to look this from the both sides, from the end of the string sequence, we have both r on the first place, and then the second place from the h, which is the a, and then the third place, which is the c, and the fourth place, which is e, and then a. Since e and a is not the same, then it is not a palindrome, then we have to return false. And for this example 3 right here, which is this one is tricky because we have only white space, we have considered this is a true is because the s, after we filter out every alphanumeric characters, non-alphanumeric characters, including the spaces, the symbols, and the comma, exclamation mark, colon, or the dot sign is considered just empty string without any spaces at all. Then since it is an empty string without any characters, and it is still empty string, is still considered a palindrome even if the s doesn't have any characters at all. And empty string is the same forward and backwards, it is a palindrome. And so without further ado, let's solve this out by creating an approach. I'm going to use the technique called the 2 pointers that reads from the front and from the back, and the pointer, as we go through the iteration, the pointer will moves one by one. From the back will moves to the left, and from the front will move to the right, and until they both meet at the middle point. And after both pointers already passing each other, then the while loop will stops. And that way we are checking every character as we go through the iteration and compare them one by one to see if they are the same or not. And by comparing them, since it is a lowercase with the uppercase, then the uppercase will be normalized as the lower cases, and every spaces, every comma, exclamation mark, or question mark, colon, anything that is non-alphanumeric characters will be pruned and will be filtered out, and we can just get this raw string like this. Since a string is also considered an array, and we can just point this using the 2 pointers as the index of the character that we read. And we are using the TypeScript as our language. If you want to use something else other than TypeScript, then go ahead, I encourage you to do so. And we have the function of the is palindrome, which is a boolean check of the function that takes only one parameter, which is the s, in the form data type string, and the expected output is in the form of boolean. Either true or false is considered a valid output from this is palindrome function. And let me visualize this by using the clay drawing. And for this part, we have the string called the a man, a plant, a canal, Panama. and we have to declare two pointers that reads from the initial value will be the beginning of the string, and the second pointer is pointing to the end of the string. And as we go through the comparison, as we go through the iteration and we compare both strings, this one will be normalized as the lowercase, and then as they are going to true, while it is true, then we go through by one by one, and it moves one by one. The first pointer will move to the right or added by one index, and the last pointer is going to be the index because it's going to be subtracted by one every iteration. And for the M right here, compared with the white space, since white space is going to be pruned and it is filtered out, since it is non-alphanumeric characters, then space will be skipped, and we can just move to the I pointer. We have the blue one called the I pointer, and the green one which is the J pointer, and we declare this as J, and this one we declare this as the I. And we compare both M, since they are both M's, then it is still true, then we need to move this one by one to the A, and they are both true, and they are both the same, and this is a comma, which is A comma with A. Since comma is not non-alphanumeric characters, then it will be skipped. Move it again to the space, it is going to be skipped, and then this A, since they are both the same, then we are going to move to the P, and we are moving to the first pointer to the white space right here. Then it is not alphanumeric characters, then we'll move this again by one, and as we go through the pointers and after they are both passing each other, then the while loop will stop and we got the result of true. And that way we can handle this. Just in case if it is not a palindrome, then we can just return false as it is, and we abruptly stop the while loop while it is still in the middle of the processing. Let's go back to our code by creating a let function, let I of the I pointer, which is starting from the index 0, and then let the J pointer, which starting from the s.length. Since it is an array, the string is also considered an array, then we can use the s.length property, and then using the -1 since the index always starting from 0. Then using the for loop, not the for loop but the while loop, using the while loop, while the I is, as long as I is below or equals to the J pointer. If it is, then we can just process the I and then process the J. But first we need to compare both I and J if it is considered alphanumeric characters. It is very simple by using the constant called the alphanumeric regex, or the regular expressions. Then we can declare a regular expression variable like this one using the double or sign or the diagonal sign. I forgot what this kind of symbol, and we can just declare the A with the Z, which is lowercase. We need to include this, and this one is also alphanumeric with the A and Z. And don't forget to wrap them with the square brackets because we are comparing if they are alphanumeric characters, which the square brackets will group them, and we include these lower cases A to Z, and then upper cases A to Z, and finally 0 to 9, and they are both considered alphanumeric characters. A to Z lowercase, A to Z uppercase, and then 0 to 9, and wrap in a square brackets. And so that is the minimal explanation of the regular expression for now, and let's compare them on every iteration of the current index. We need to compare if the string.I, string of the current index of the I. But before we declare this, we need to use the alphanumeric to check if the string of the I pointer is considered an alphanumeric or not, using the alphanumeric.test method, test method of the regular expression, and we can test passing the parameter as the string with the current index of I, and check if it is not an alphanumeric using the exclamation mark in front of the alphanumeric.test method. If it is not alphanumeric, then we can just skip the I of the current iteration and then I++, and we can just pass in the continue statement, and that way After we use the continue, the code below the continue will not be triggered, and we can just loop through the while loop again, reading from the if check right here, and then finally the if check for the j pointer using the if alphanumeric. If the current index of the j is not considered an alphanumeric, using the s j, just like on the s with the I index, and then j minus minus. Don't forget to put the j minus minus because we are working from the right to the left index, not the other way around. And then we can just passing the continue statement, and the while loop will start all over again for the next pointer of the j. Also the same thing, if this if is true, then the I will added by 1, incremented by 1, and it will be continued, and they are both going to be compared again, and using the I plus plus and j minus minus. But before we move the both pointers, we need to check in the middle of it using the if the current s of the I is in the to_lowerCase method, and we just normalize the any uppercases to lowercases, compare them with the pointer of the j. If it is not the same, strictly not equals as the j as of the j index, and then to_lowerCase again, to_lowerCase method. If it is not the same, then we can just return false. We don't have to break the while loop function of the while loop statement, because return false will automatically break the while loop, and we can just return false right away in the middle of the while loop check. If they are all been completed and there is no error or return false, then we can just pass in the return is true. So let's run our code to see if it works. And we have the accepted solution of 3 examples, and we can just submit our code to see if it really works. We have the runtime of 7 milliseconds. So that's about it. I hope you understand my explanation. If you still don't understand, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you have any better solutions regarding this challenge, tell us what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.